Hey everybody, this is a tutorial for how to create a self-grading test using Google Forms and Flubaroo. First, you need to start from your Google Drive. I am in the old Google Drive. If you have yours in the new format, which looks like this, you can switch back to the old format by clicking the little gear over here and choosing Leave the New Drive, and then you can switch back whenever you want to by clicking the gear again and choosing Experience the New Drive. I don't like the new drive, so I'm in the old drive. First thing you need to create a self-grading test or quiz is to create a Google form. So click the red Create button on the left side of your screen and choose Form. This will bring you to a blank form. You can title it whatever you want. So let's do Unit 1 Test. And you need to create your questions. So up here where it says the question title, that's where you type your actual question. So let's do something from Ancient Civilizations. So what was the lasting impact of Athenian government? I have this set to multiple choice. Multiple choice is the easiest way to do these self-grading quizzes. You can also do choose from a list, which basically does the same thing. The problem if you choose a text response, which allows students to type a response, is that if it's not exactly like what you typed for your key, it will be marked wrong. So if they misspell it or don't capitalize it the same way, then it will be marked wrong. So I do multiple choice. So you can type your options here. I believe it will let you add as many options as you would like. You can also do other if you would like to do like none of the above or have them type in a response. So okay, and then I always mark my questions required. I find that students will skip questions otherwise, and that's an easy way for them to lose points. So if you want to make it a required question, check that box, and it won't let them submit it unless they've answered that question. I find that in order to identify students, you should either add a typed question for name, or down here at the bottom, no, up here at the top, it'll give you the option to collect the respondent's username. So that'll collect the whatever their Johnson County Schools username is. So that way, even if the student doesn't type in their name, it'll collect the data for who they are. Okay, so you need to either have a name box or check that box or something so that you know who the students are. If you want to see what your test looks like at any time, up here at the top, you can click View Live Form, and it'll show you your test, and you can see what it'll look like for the students. Okay. It also gives you the option to change the theme, where you can change the background, change the font, that kind of stuff. If you want to view responses, you can click this, and it will take you to the spreadsheet where the responses are generated, like this. So for right now, it's blank. But if we go back to our drive, we can scroll down, and down here is our actual test. Over here is the spreadsheet with the responses. So let me show you what this looks like with a test that's already made. Here's a test that I made. This is what it looks like on the student's end. We've got a box for name, box for block, several questions for them to answer. On here, I also have an essay question, and I'll show you what to do with those in a minute. So students would get a URL. Either you can email it to them, you can post it on the board. I post mine on the board. If you use Google Classroom, you could share it with them through Google Classroom. So students would take this test, they will submit it, and then the responses will be generated into a spreadsheet. You'll know that a new student has submitted a response because the spreadsheet will, the title will turn bold, like it does anytime somebody other than you edits one of your Google Docs. So you pull it up, and you've got something that looks like this. So notice that I've got 3 student responses here. Their names are here. Their answers show up here. And then in order for Flubaroo to work, you have to have a submission that you want it to use as the key. So you have to actually take your own test, and then your submission will show up like mine did here. So once you've got your student submissions in, you'll want to do up here at the top where it says add-ons, click add-ons. If you don't already have Flubaroo chosen, you'll need to choose get add-ons, and it'll show you a bunch of different options. Flubaroo was one of the first ones for me because it's a really popular add-on. If it's not there, just type in the box and search for it, and it'll show up. So mine is checked because I already have that installed. If you don't have yours installed, then you would just click install over here. Okay, so since I already have Flubaroo, click add-on, Flubaroo, grade assignment. So the first thing Flubaroo asks you is there anything you don't want me to grade? So you can tell it, this is identifying information. So it knows that name identifies the student. For block, that identifies the student too. For me, I also have an essay question. I don't want Flubaroo to grade my essay. I want to grade my essay myself and add the points later. So down here, I'll select skip grading. You can decide if you want your questions to have different weights, if there's one that you want to have a higher point value. Otherwise, I just leave all of mine at 1 point. Then you click continue. The second step asks you, which submission do you want to use as the key? This is where you select the one that you made. So pick that one. Continue. And then here's where it grades. If you have a lot of student submissions, like 3 classes of 30 students, this can take a little while. Because we only had 3 submissions here, it graded it fairly quickly. So then it gives you this little blurb about how Flubaroo works. So it tells you the percent of students who got each question right. Any question that is low scoring is going to be highlighted in orange. So a lot of the time I'll look at my low scoring question, and if I have one that a huge majority of the students missed, like 80 to 90% of the students missed, I will regrade my test and have it not grade that question because clearly I didn't teach it well. Now, if only half the students missed it, then maybe they just need to review more, and that would be a good question to add to your list of things you need to remediate before the midterm and before the final. So click View Grades. Notice that this didn't create a new spreadsheet. It added an extra sheet to your submission spreadsheet. So if you look at this tab, these are your submissions that we looked at before. Now you have an extra tab that's grades. Okay, so we see that 2 of our 3 students failed because their names are highlighted in red. This is their percent on the test. And then this is the percent for our student that passed. If your test is straight multiple choice, then this is all you'll do. If you have an essay, which I do, this one was my essay, you can decide what you want the point value for that to be, and then you can grade it, add it to that percentage, whatever you want to do. Okay. One thing that I find really useful for this is that since it's already in a spreadsheet, you can go back to your Flubaroo and create a new document in your Google Drive. Call it something like test data. So this is one for a test that I made. I copied the student scores, counted how many students made each score. And then I've sorted them by block. So for example, this one is second block. And then these are the scores for each student. If you do a pretest, which I think we're all supposed to be doing for each unit, then you can have a column for your pretest data and a column for your post-test data and graph both of them. And you'll end up with a double bar graph. Okay, so this can make it really easy for you to have your data wall since all of your data is already in a spreadsheet for you. One last thing, if you would like to make another copy of your test and modify it for your honors class or modify it for OCS students or other students who have mods, in Google Drive it's really easy to make a copy of a document, so just select your form like this one, click the box, choose to make a copy, and then just edit your copy. So once you have the copy, you can delete off an answer choice or add an essay question if you need to. Okay, so that is how you make a self-grading test in Google Drive and grade it with Flubaroo. I hope that's been helpful. Feel free to email me or Miss Pierce or Coach Parker if you have any questions.